Hey everyone, how's it going? It's the Loon here, and today I wanted to do something a little bit different and compare and contrast the V4/V3 Medusa to the V2 Empusa. Also wanted to do a little bit of a comparison throwing in the Empress, but this is quite a departure from this handle design, so it's not going to be so much a direct comparison, but I thought it'd be important and maybe helpful to throw this one in there to complete the trifecta. So right away, the balance on all three of these is incredibly similar. The Empress, with its heavy weights in, does have a tiny bit more handle bias that honestly has not made a huge difference in the feel of flipping for me. These two specifically are very, very close in balance point, and the main differences are going to be in the feel of the handles. There were some updates that Grant made to the V4 handles that really fixed any issue that I had with these, even if it was incredibly slight. But see, the main difference, see if I can get it to focus. So the main difference you'll notice with these handles is the Empusa handles are actually quite a bit thinner. Those bevels, the chamfering on the side of the handles is a lot deeper, I believe, so it creates a far thinner edge on that face. There's also chamfering down at the bottom of the handles on the V4 handles that the Empusa with the V2 handles does not have, which makes things like palm spins a little more comfortable, but it hasn't been a huge difference for me. That slightly wider feeling face on the handles has been a very, very big difference. One of the complaints with the old handles is that it can be hard, you see, it can be hard to do ladders on them because with those narrow faces and the wider faces on the side here, it does have a tendency to want to twist in your grip and turn sideways when you're doing it. With the new V4, V3, I'm going to call them V3 from here on out because that's what Grant calls them. The community has largely dubbed them the V4 handles because there was a trainer version with a different set of handles that Grant doesn't really take into the version counter thing deal. Got it? It's my scientific explanation. Ladders are a lot more comfortable. It really wants to sit in there a lot better. It doesn't want to twist on you. The handles feel a lot more square, whereas these feel a lot more rectangular. So another big difference here is you'll see on the inside of the channels, this piece here is a lot more narrow, while this is flattened out quite a bit. This makes it a lot more comfortable for doing chaplains and that sort of thing. The spine here is also incredibly round and feels very soft on the V3 Medusa blade, whereas the Empress blade on the Empusa, it is kind of chamfered a bit, but it's not super rounded off, which isn't even really noticeable, but those inner channels, or the sides of the channel there being narrow, is quite a bit noticeable. This thing has pinched me once or twice. Not bad, just enough to be noticeable. Not even enough to really be annoying, and I've kind of gotten used to it at this point. But doing the same tricks on these new handles just feels so good. There's absolutely nothing there to pinch or cause discomfort. It just feels a lot softer in the hands. Now, the other aesthetic difference, besides the different milling pattern in here, is the sound, which is a very big difference. While these handles fixed any sort of issue I had with the V2 handles, I don't know which one I think sounds better. I might still be partial to the V2 handles when it comes to sound. This is one of my favorite sounding ballad songs I have ever heard, and it's a tough one to beat. So I'll give you a little sound test here. We'll cut to that, and you can come to your own conclusions. I know sound is as subjective as the visual aesthetic of a knife. Like, there's no good sound and bad sound when you start getting into nicer knives. They're not going to sound rattly. They really do all sound cool in their own right. But now I've talked about sound way too much for this, so let's do that. First we have the Medusa with a little sound test. Cool. Now let's go to the Empusa. It's a lot bouncier. It sounds really glassy. It sounds almost like marbles hitting each other or something, and I love it. This one definitely has a little more of a wind chime kind of thing going on, which sounds so good. It really does. This is still one of my favorite sounding ballad songs, but compare that to the Empusa. And it just has a higher pitched ring that isn't too high pitched, but it feels like it resonates much longer. This has a deeper kind of wind chimey sound. So if you like ring specifically, this one wins definitely. If you want some of that soft kind of ring, a little more hollow wind chimey goodness, this might be your guy right here. So honestly, they both sound incredible. I think the Empusa wins out. The V2 handles specifically went out just a little bit for me, but they both sound incredible. Also, with the V3 Medusa, he did upgrade the blade steel from S35VN to MagnaCut steel, which very similar properties, but MagnaCut is almost like S35VN turned up to 11.
These go to 11.
Is it going to make a huge difference EDCing these knives, say, and using them for random daily tasks, probably just opening up boxes? No. Is it fun to nerd out about cool blade steels and such? Absolutely. So that's kind of cool, something to take into consideration. But overall, I think they're both fantastic knives. So then, talking about the Empress, where does that fit into all this? The Empress does have a really cool handle design that's very different from the other two that I think is some of Grant's best work. There's this beautiful milling in the handles in this cool pattern that extends to the inside of the handles as well. It's got that classic kind of floaty Medusa and Empusa feel where all that weight in the tips of the handles and in the tip of the blade makes for a really unique experience that carries momentum very well. It is still a little bit sharp inside the handles. I think these were designed before the V4 Medusa, before that kind of softer inner channel bit was smoothed out. This one I do think has the better jimping. Being a sandwich design with jimping on both sides means it's really hard for this one to escape your fingers when you're doing ladders. This thing has an adjustable weight system. The channel designs do not, so that's might be something to think about. But I love the polished edges on all four corners. They feel really smooth and really grippy. And overall, this is one of my favorite balisongs, along these two, the Triple Crown of Grant's balisong journey. In my opinion, these are the coolest knives I think he's made, and these are some of the coolest balisongs that I have in my collection and that I think exist. They're so unique. The nerd in me loves the references to Lord of the Rings. I love that Grant's a nerd. I really hope he gets back into making balisongs someday, because I would love to see what else he comes out with. But yeah, that's about all I got for you. Just wanted to talk about these awesome knives, nerd out a little bit, and hopefully you think this was interesting. Maybe this will help you decide between a V2 and V4 Medusa or an Empusa on V2 handles or whatever. I haven't seen a lot of videos discussing the differences and similarities, so I just thought it'd be kind of fun to compare. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at these three knives. Maybe this helps you decide between V2 and V3 handles. Is it worth the extra money to get the V4 Medusa, or are you perfectly happy with the V2? These ones are a lot pricier. They do have better steel. I think they're a little more comfortable, but you can't beat that V2 sound, and it's just got a classic Grant look to it that I love. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully it was somewhat helpful. I thought it'd be fun to talk about some of my favorite knives and nerd out about a collection of knives inspired by a very nerdy thing. So take it easy. This has been the Loon. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.